Decentralized!
All right. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Decentralized channel. My name is Corey Moran. I'm here with my partner, Mr. Peter Ganner. Hello, Peter.
Hey,
Hey,
how's
man.
everybody
So
doing today?
you probably have noticed the Blast airdrop launching. The Blast dropped yesterday, and a lot of things happening. A lot of noise happened. A lot of things. But first of all, Blast blockchain. What is it? It's layer 2 and EVM compatible blockchain. It's built on the Ethereum network. It's secure. It's fast. It's low cost. It's developer friendly. It's got all these components. But we're going to take a small little deep dive into Blast, maybe some price predictions and things going on here. Of course, Peter, I'm going to kick it over to you first. You can give them the financial claim because obviously I'm not a financial advisor. What about you?
You are definitely not, buddy. I can tell you that. I've taken some. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen to him on that. Yes.
All right. So here we go, guys. Look, before we jump into this, and I am excited about Blast, right? But before we do that, we need to let you guys know this is not considered for financial advice. It's really just information. Our goal is to educate people on projects and then give you enough information that you can go do your own research and decide whether you want to get involved with it or don't want to be involved with it. So with that, we're going to jump into the information. Now, I've got to tell you, we were part of the first phase, the first airdrop, which by the way just happened. 17 billion tokens, 3 billion to the Blur community, 14 billion to the main community. And it was incredible, right? Now we got in about halfway through the period of time that it had for airdrops, but still did pretty well on that airdrop. Now, there is a second phase that is starting. So if you missed the first phase of the Blast airdrop, and you hear this information that we're talking about, you do your own research and you go, holy mackerel, I need to be involved with it. They're going to be dropping an additional 10 billion tokens at the end of this season. It'll be a longer season. The first season was, I think, about 3 or 4 months. The second season will go probably somewhere between 10 and 12 months, right in that area. So it's going to be a longer season, giving you more time to participate. Now, I have to tell you, there was a lot of fun. What stopped us from getting involved from the very beginning was some information out there by people saying, oh, this is just going to be an incentivized airdrop. It doesn't have a future. It's not a real, it's not a real project, it says. Now, I should have done a little more research, because if I would have done the research, I would have found out that this project was started and created by Pac-Man. Now, if you don't know who Pac-Man is, he's a young kid, started his first company at 16, went through Y Combinator, has built some success. One of the projects, as I said in the beginning, about 3 billion tokens just went to Blur. The reason why is that is another project that Pac-Man was involved with. If you don't know what Blur is, in the NFT space, OpenSea was the dominant player. Lots of big people launched other marketplaces to thuds, right? They didn't go anywhere. OpenSea. Pac-Man and his partner said, let's start Blur. Let's let people know we're going to incentivize with an airdrop and we'll create a great project. And boom, instantly they became a major player in the NFT marketplace. So I try to look at past performance. Past performance may equal some great future results because of the experience that's attached to that past performance. Pac-Man did very well with Blur. A lot of people got huge airdrops, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, and now they're doing it again with Blast. 50% of all of the 100 billion tokens will go to community members, people that are utilizing the platform. So first phase, 17 billion. Second phase is 10 billion. That's only 27. That leaves 23 billion others. Now, that's just the beginning of the reason why we're excited about Blast. So another feature that they did is, and I love this, is that you can earn yield just by holding USDB, which is their stablecoin, or Ethereum on the chain. It's a little over 3% on Ethereum, a little over 8% on it. So if I have money that I'm parking somewhere and I'm going to wait to get in a pre-sale down the road, maybe I'm holding on to it because there's an NFT launch going. I can have that sitting there, a stable coin, and have it earning yield on a daily basis, growing for me on the network. That is a unique feature. The only one that I believe is doing that right now is Blast. Okay. So with those yields, with everything else that's going on, the airdrops, there is an interview out. I really encourage, and Corey, maybe you can touch on this interview a little bit. I encourage people to go watch Pac-Man's latest interview. This kid understands community. He understands the future. So Corey, any thoughts on that? I know you watched the interview as well.
Yeah, I've watched it a few times now, and he's the way he almost compares it to the building of Android, and how these huge companies have failed because they have not built the infrastructure correctly. And then the way Pac-Man has put it all together and the way he has thought this through, it's really captivating, and it's really something that once you watch it, you kind of fully get the big picture of Blast and what Blast is doing. You see it down over phase 2, you see it coming out phase 3, and you can see how it's all going to come together. Peter, you mentioned a big word, community, and you also mentioned that 50% of the tokens will be going out to the community. I wanted to bring up real quickly, probably a trigger word or a trigger company for a lot of people right now over what's happened over the last couple of weeks with a couple of, we'll call it 3 different companies that had very highly anticipated airdrops. We'll call it ZK Sync, Layer 0, and Starknet. So these companies, projects had huge communities, right? So what happened?
They had huge communities, huge potential, supposedly. They had raised lots of funds. They had all the making to be fantastic projects moving forward. And if you look at the charts of when they launched, so let's start with ZK Sync, because it was the first, or Starknet actually was the first one that launched. It comes out, people are excited about it. They're building community through these incentive programs. However, my opinion is they didn't give enough information. And so what a lot of these projects do is they want to make the rules up on the fly. They don't want to give you too much information, because if they need to change it or they want to make something different, they can do it at the last minute because they didn't make any commitments. One of the things that I love about what Blast is doing is Blast is laying these things out, exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it. They are giving directions. So if I'm a project and I have a community, we're partners together. We're in this together. So we need to work on it together. I need to be transparent with you. You need to be transparent with me, right? We need to communicate very well. And the projects that, like Blast, has communicated very well with their community, you're going to see the difference in these charts of what happens on day one when you communicate well and what happens when you don't communicate well. And here's the cool part about it is we've been in kind of a similar marketplace for the last 6-8 weeks, kind of crazy, right? With the whole thing. All of these projects have launched within that period of time. So you're looking at apples to apples of what happens when you treat a community properly and when you do not treat a community properly. Want to share that again, Corey? So our first one here, guys, is Starknet. You'll see it came out pretty flat day one, right? Moving through a little bit of bump there, but look at what happened after that. A steady climb down. So this is all of June. It has been on a downward spiral. Why? Because they were not clear with their community of what they needed to do. And so there's continuing sell pressure that's been put on the token, and it continues to drive that down. But they're not the only one. Let's look at ZK Sync, which was the next one that launched their token here. Guys, check this out. So here you have ZK Sync. First of all, they didn't let anybody know they did a snapshot. Other projects have done that before as well. But here are people that are doing work and mining and pushing, and they built this whole thing up. We're here for the ZK Nation. Well, guess what? The ZK Nation was not there for them. An immediate drop, 21%, just like that of their token. Why? because dissatisfied community members do not hold their token. They sell them and they move out of the project. This is going on. Let's look at layer 0. Same thing. Layer 0 was going to do an airdrop. They adjusted the numbers. They said, we're still going to do the airdrop, but because of Cybele bots and all this other stuff, they tried to do it. They labeled regular everyday people Cybeles when they shouldn't have. They put together a process. They said, well, instead of giving all of our tokens away now, we're going to give them away over a longer period of time, down 36.96% on the drop. Now we have an example to show you right now, which is Blast. What happens when you do an airdrop properly and you communicate with your community and you've built a project that is for the community? Ta-da! You have green. All right. That these are, again, in very similar periods of time, right? In where the market conditions have been about the same across the board on this stuff happening. Look, came out, went up immediately, came down, dipped a little bit below its the initial price, but then recovers right back up, goes up, and now it's moving steadily along. Now, I want you to know that of the tokens that are in circulation, 14 billion of the 17 billion have been issued, except for the top 0.1%. They're being unlocked over 6 months as you move through this process. So really what this comes down to, guys, is if you're looking for a project that understands Web3, if you're looking for a project that understands community, which is what Web3 is, right? It's called the People's Web. Why is it called the People's Web? Because it's a web that where everybody that by engaging with it, you have the ability to monetize, to build digital wealth, to have more say-so, the direction of your data, your information. So here you have it, is if that's the core premise of it, then what we need to find are people, founders, not brilliant tech people. I am sure the people who created ZK Sync are brilliant. I'm sure the people that, I know the people that created Layer 0 are brilliant. Half the projects out there are using their back end right now to do their process. They are brilliant when it comes to the technology. However, where they fail is on understanding community. What I believe with Blast is you have a brilliant young man and his partner, brilliant, but they understand community. And so when I start looking at a project and say, where can it go? That's what I'm looking for. Does that make sense, Corey?
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. You really hit the nail on the head there, and you really explained it very well. I see, their mission, the Blast mission is to unbank the banked. And just a huge point, Peter. I had to bring that up because,
Oh my God, buddy, I am so glad you bring that, because everybody else says crypto is to bank the unbanked. Right. And he's like, and when I heard Pac-Man say that, I was like, holy mackerel, he's right. We're not banking the unbanked. We're taking the unbanked and bring them into a modern financial system where everybody can benefit, because it's based on community, Web3. It's based on that concept. And then we're taking the people right now that are getting screwed every day by the banks, whether it's on your credit cards or your home loans or your whatever, your fees, all of that stuff. And we're going to take them and we're going to move them into the modern financial system, which will be a decentralized model where we, the people, can benefit from every transaction, the information that's online. It's absolutely incredible. That's why they need to watch that interview, because that is just absolutely, you nailed it right there, buddy. That is, I get so excited about that. I'm sorry, I got to calm myself down here, because that gets it. Pac-Man gets it. And if he gets that, then what are the possibilities for Blast? Could it be a top 5 token? Right now, little over $400 billion market cap. As a matter of fact, Corey, why don't you go over the statistics on TVL, that type of stuff real quick, because Blast has already broken some or done pretty well in the last 3 or 4 months, right, since their launch. Their what their stable coin is, what is their stable coin? Number 5 right now, I believe.
Yeah, it was as of yesterday, it was the top in the top 5 stable coins.
The top 5. So
USDB.
they launched this a few months ago. Top 5 on stablecoin. Okay, TVL. I believe it's over $2 billion right now in TVL that's locked, right?
Yep.
I believe it's the fastest project ever to $2 billion in TVL locked, correct?
Yep, you got that.
Okay. And guys, user base, already well over 1 million. The dApps that have been built, I asked Corey to give you the information, and here I am giving you the information, but I don't think
I'm just fact checking here. I'm fact checking you.
Right now, you have hundreds of dApps that are not just being built on it, that are already functioning. NFT marketplaces, DeFi markets that are up and running. And I believe Blast has the highest at this stage of actual native projects that have been built on it. So builders are coming and building on it. We're going to take some projects we worked on and we're moving them on to Blast. The sell-off on day one was not a drop like it was on the other 3 tokens. Brilliant young person behind it. They understand community. I think if you start adding all that stuff up together, Blast is a buy. It is a token. Again, not financial advice. I bought some last night. I earned some in the airdrop. I'm buying more because I believe that this project has the potential. If there's anything out there, and this is going to be a big statement right here, guys. If there's anything out there that I've seen that has the potential to replace or surpass Ethereum, I believe it could be Blast. That is huge. When you look at a $400 million market cap and where Ethereum is, does this have the ability to move through that process and head there? I believe it does, and it can. But again, only time will tell. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't, Corey, what are your thoughts on that? What
I'd say you kind of covered a few of the components that I was looking at of why it is a buy. And in my opinion, I'm very bullish on Blast at this point. Done a lot of research. It is the fastest growing chain ever. You got to give points to where the facts lay and all the statistics that have come out in just 3 months too. This is Blast in 3 months, and the way they rolled out. The average number of users that has steadily grown since they launched 3 months ago, the consistency of their rollouts, their multipliers, the way they handled phase 1 was in my opinion pretty spot on. I'm very curious and I'm very excited about what's going to happen in phase 2 over this next year. The ability to experience their wallet that comes out at some point. They're making all the right moves, and I tell you that their motto, that Pac-Man's behind it, the dApps that are involved, just the ability to bring people in and keep people there, and to hold the tokens and stake and do all the DEX and all that stuff is, I see Blast being at the top over the next couple of years, next 5 years down the road. It's going to be one of those forces in the industry and innovators, which is very important in the space. So, and I was curious to hear your thoughts too, Peter, where you saw them in the next few years, and maybe even we kind of top this thing off with a Peter Price prediction of some sort.
So let's look at 18 months from now. So one of the other factors are all the devs have a 1-year cliff on getting any of their tokens. Okay. And then they're vested over 3 more years after that on a monthly basis. All the investors have a 1-year cliff, 3-year vesting. Okay. And then they have another 25% of the project that are for core contributors. That would be projects that build on it. A lot of those projects are passing that Blast on to their members through other airdrops, through other incentives. So a portion of that will go out to the community. So when I start looking at this stuff and I start going, okay, low supply, the supply is in the hands of lots of people, right? Over 1 million people, I believe, 1.3 million or something got the airdrop. So it's diversely spread out. There's not people with huge amounts of it. I see that it is proving itself right now. So one of the what do you call it? One of the criticism, that's the word I was looking for, of the project was that it was highly incentivized. And so as soon as those incentives were not there, that volume would flood, that it would leave. I can't speak for everybody else right now, and we'll see over the next few weeks what happens. I am leaving all of mine on Blast. And a matter of fact, I'm doubling down. I am putting more into Blast. I'm finding other resources, other digital assets that I can liquidate and move into the Blast network. So I'm only one of 1.3, 1.4 million people, but I'm doing that. I believe Corey's doing the same thing. He's moving assets onto it. We have about 80, 90 people that we referred to. We believe that all of those people are moving more into it, or at least leaving what they have on there. So that answers that criticism and says you were wrong. And Pac-Man mentions in it, if you build great projects, great things that people like to use, and you incentivize them to use them, they'll keep using them. And that's exactly what they've done here with Blast. So I'm going to say, guys, that I believe that by the end of this year, my prediction would be is that Blast is somewhere between 60 cents and 90 cents, somewhere in there. And then of course, there'll be some unlocks. There'll be the next 10 billion will come out. That should probably bring down a little bit, but then there'll be a phase 3, and that'll continue to incentivize and keep growing. So right now it's at 2.5 cents. So that would be a 20, 30x from where it is right now on the low side, a little bit higher on that side. And again, time will tell. They talked about this wallet. It's a wallet, from what they're saying, that people will want to use, right? It will be a wallet not built like the other wallets by tech people that are difficult to maneuver. But the idea and the concept is to build a very easy to use, easy to do project. I can say that their claiming process for claiming their airdrop, so many people have gotten scammed on airdrop stuff, going to claim and connecting. Well, they did a very good job of making it to where you put the app on your phone, you scanned a code, you put in 4 words, connected it all together and got it to your wallet. Also, everyone else is struggling with keeping bots out of their airdrops. Blast, from what I can see, made it happen. And how did they make it happen? Registering, social media, point system. So they have already, where ZK Sync, StarkNet, Layer 0 had major issues that caused them to piss off their communities. Blast was able to overcome all of that even prior to them happening, right? So they've got vision, they've got, foresight in this stuff. So that's where I believe it's going. And that's why I'm purchasing more, right? I'll buy more over the next week or two. I'll continue to do that. I'm excited about the project. Well, I think with that, Corey, we've talked about a lot of stuff here. We will probably try to do some in-depth videos on some of the dApps. So look for that coming in the next few weeks. We're probably going to pick 4 or 5 or 6 dApps. We are right now heavily engaged in a project called District 1. We should probably do a video on that so people can learn about that. We have a channel over there. We're giving away gems turn into Blast, right? So cool stuff there. Some of these other projects are doing airdrops as well. The other side of it too is I want to compare this to Atom, Cosmos. Cosmos started with a big airdrop. And so what happened was a lot of the projects that built on it also did airdrops. They set the tone. Well, guess what? Blast has set the tone. So I believe a majority, if not all, of the projects that are native started on Blast will do airdrops. So if you're going to be in an ecosystem, why wouldn't you want to be in an ecosystem that is going to continually crank out airdrops if you're using those projects? And then of course you get the double dip because you get to be part of the Blast airdrop by participating with these other dApps, these other projects that are doing airdrops. For me, buddy, I'm going to put it in the win column, the check mark, the high score, right? 1 out of 10. It's a 9.3, right? So maybe you can give them real quick your where you put this as far as the projects that we've been involved with and been a part of. And with that, we'll wrap this thing up and say thank you for joining us.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I was going to say I was going to give it a B for Blast, but I got to give it an A if we're on an A to F scale. But Blast has done it, and just on its own or comparatively speaking, over what I've experienced in airdrops over the since the beginning of the year, they've just knocked it out of the park, and I believe they're going to continue to do so over the next 12 months through phase 2. And I rave reviews here, and I love your price prediction, Peter. I was along the same. I don't give financial advice, but I always listen to Peter when he does a price prediction. So I'm going to go 60 to 90 cents in that range. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one. Take care for now.